Alright, welcome back to another video, everyone. Today I'm making a video on how to do an ILS landing with a Boeing 737. We had a viewer request that I do this video on one of my other videos, so that's why I'm doing it. Now, before you do an ILS approach, you're going to need the ILS frequency of the airport and the runway that you wish to shoot the ILS approach on. So in order to do that, you go up to your World tab at the top left, click it, and go to the map, and click on the airport, and you'll be able to see the runways that have the ILS approach. So once you have that information, you need to go to your views and open up your radio stack, which I already have open. And then at your radio stack, you'll notice that there's a couple of units that say COM 1 and 2, and then a couple that say nav 1 and 2. You're going to want to put it in the nav 1 on standby first. So my ILS frequency is 109.5. Okay, so I've got that dialed in, and now I press the button in the middle, and that switches it to the active frequency, which means our airplane is now looking for that frequency. And you'll know if you've found it yet. If you go to the bottom, you'll see NV1 for nav1. If you press that button, you should hear some noises once it finds the frequency. And once we find that, we can shut it. Okay, so we've heard it, we know it's found it, so we can turn that button off so that we don't have to continue listening to that, and then we can take off the radio stack because we don't need that anymore. Now from here, you really want to make sure that your aircraft is lined up with the runway that you're going to be landing on. So as you can see here by this little map, I'm landing at this airport here, CYXU, and I'm currently in line with landing on the runway. So from here, I'm at an altitude of 3,000 feet at 200 knots, and I am going to put this button on here. This is your approach hold. And what this is going to do is the airplane is going to line up with the runway best it can, and once you hit the glide slope, the aircraft will start to descend. So it looks like the plane's already lined up as good as it wants to be, and it hasn't started descending yet because we haven't hit the glide slope. So I'm going to continue. I drop the gear, and I'm going to continue to lower flaps, and I'm going to lower the speed all the way down to, at this point, about 165 knots, and before I touch down, that'll go down all the way down to, in this aircraft, about 130 some odd knots. I'm going to probably do it at about 138 or so, because what's going to happen is I'm going to at that point, I'm going to turn off the autopilot, and turn off the auto throttle, and I'll maintain my own speed. So this is just to help me maintain my speed while I'm on approach. Normally you would use this type of approach in, foggy weather or stormy or low cloud cover, and oftentimes you don't have to necessarily use it all the way down to the runway. Sometimes if you just have really low cloud cover, you could use it to get through the clouds, and then once you have the runway in sight, you can disengage it. There are also times when you have to basically use it all the way until your wheels almost touch the ground. So it really just kind of depends on the kind of weather. Okay, so we're getting close to the airport now. I'm going to drop my speed down to this. Oh, it's too low. Drop it down to 140 here for the final approach. And as you can see, it looks like the aircraft is starting to descend towards the runway. Oh, not yet. But as you can see, it is in line with the runway, which is the main goal here. Also, my desktop computer finally had its last of its days last night, so if you notice a difference in quality, either graphics or frames per second, this is my laptop. And in many ways it actually runs FSX better. It's a laptop, so there's not as many USB ports and stuff like that for the things that I like to use, but I guess I'll have to make do until I can get another computer. And as you've noticed there, as I was talking, the aircraft has started its descent down towards the runway. So at this point, all the work of doing an ILS approach has been completed. The only thing that you're going to have to do now is turn off your autopilot, and if you're using auto throttle, you want to make sure you take that off before you touch down. Otherwise, you're not going to have a very fun time trying to stop. Now, some of the ILS approaches, you'll notice you don't completely line up with the runway. This one looks not too bad. It looks like I'm to the left a bit, but all that you'll want to do is, as you start to get closer and you have the runway fully in sight, you can disengage your autopilot. You can leave your auto throttle on if you'd like, but if you disengage the autopilot, you'll still be able to control the aircraft while the auto throttle is still controlling the speed. So I'm actually going to take over now because I noticed there's a tree at the end of the runway, and sometimes on Flight Simulator the ILS approaches don't really take that kind of stuff into consideration. So I'm going to line up with the runway and make sure I avoid that tree. And just before I touch down, I'll take off the auto throttle so that I can stop and slow down. Hopefully my frames per second keep up with this here. Alright, I'm going to take off the auto throttle. Down to idle. I'm a little high, but we got tons of runway. And that was probably a little bit rough, but you get the picture. Rough and off center, but we're in one piece. Alright everyone, thanks for watching, and as you can see, if you guys do leave comments suggesting video content, I do follow through with making the content, so I encourage you to please leave any suggestions or video suggestions you might have in the comments, and I'll make sure to get around to that. In the meantime, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.